So now I'm in Mexico. I've been at the hotel for a week or so, and now I need to get serious. Am I staying here? So I found a taxi driver that agreed to take me around and show me the place. Then he agreed to help me find an apartment. But I couldn't. We didn't find anything. It seemed like he was just driving me anywhere just to get the money out of me. So I stopped hanging out with him, and I went walking. And I met this guy on the beach. He spoke perfect English, so he looked kind of homeless. Said he was sleeping in this cabana on the beach, so I gave him my ski jacket, which I didn't need anymore. I'm in Mexico now. And he took the jacket, and then I saw him the next day at the same palapa, and he was talking to me. I said, "Where's the jacket?" "Oh, I sold it." So he complained he was really cold on the beach, sleeping at night, so I gave him some help, but he needed the money more, so he sold the jacket. Anyways, he agreed to help me try to find a place to live, so we walked. I remember in the heat walking a lot and sweating, and I found a place, but it was only $100 a month, but it was a whole house. And I thought, oh my God, I got a whole house for $100 a month. It was completely empty though. I don't think there was even light bulbs in it, but it was a big concrete place. And it wasn't in a very good neighborhood. So I ended up there, and I thought, well, next month I'm gonna have money from the insurance company, and I'll be able to maybe find a better place. And but in the meantime, I had somewhere to live for the rest of the 2 weeks I had to wait. So it was kind of rough. There was a lot of noise in this area, and a lot of noise at night, and some people, he had told me that somebody told him that we should watch out, that there's some bad guys around here, and that you should watch the roof because they can come off the roof. This had like a terrace in the back, and it was kind of open to the roofs that were adjoining. So it made us both kind of paranoid a little bit. But the guy, he hung out with me. He turned out that he was a desperate sort of guy, and he used to prostitute himself to guys, and I didn't realize that, but he wasn't like coming on to me or anything, so I didn't really notice. But then he kept going out, and then finally he told me, and I just said, well, I'm not looking for anything like that from you. You're still okay to hang out here. You're like my translator, so I'll take care of you. So anyways, the 2 weeks went on, and I didn't get my payment didn't come through at the bank for some reason. And I thought, oh great, so they've let me go to Mexico, and now they've cut me off from having money. Plus I'm in a really bad area of the Mazatlan, and I'm white, I don't speak the language, I'm kind of a sitting duck. And I thought, wow, they're just really enjoying this, aren't they? They must be laughing now. So anyways, I had some torturous nights there, and I kept walking to this church in the tourist zone that said free phone calls home. So I kept going there and using the phone, but you could only use it for a couple minutes, and then they tell you your time's up, you have to go. So they don't say that on the sign. They say you can call home for free, but they limit your time. So I kept trying to get a hold of the insurance company, and there was this guy I was dealing with there, and I tried to explain to him what was going on, and he kept coughing on the phone while I was talking. And I thought, wow, he's like part of this. And anyways, like finally, after threatening the secretary that I really need to get a hold of this guy, and then I went to the consulate, the Canadian consulate, and I told them that I needed the money for my medication. I just made up a story to make it sound better, emergency, and that the insurance company had cut me off. They hadn't paid me this month, and now I'm stuck in Mexico, like almost homeless here. So they contacted somebody who contacted him, and then funny, because the next time I called him, he took my call. And he was saying, oh, you didn't have to do that. And I was like, well, I've been fucking leaving messages for you for 2 weeks. I said, what the fuck's going on? I says, why you wait until I'm in Mexico to fucking stop my payments? Why don't you stop it in Canada? At least I know where I am. And he said, oh, well, we had a request to double pay you in December. You didn't notice? And I said, a request? From who? Oh, well, I can't tell you who. And so somebody had intervened in the insurance company and told them to double pay me. And then, but because they double paid me, they're not paying me this month. And I said, come on, man. I says, you can't do that. I says, that's not right. You have to consult with the client, not with whoever's telling you to double pay me. Anyways, he said, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. You'll have your money next month. And then he hung up. So now I'm fucking stuck in Mexico with no money. I'm sleeping in a house with no furniture. And this guy I'm with is growing more desperate and more impatient because I don't have any money anymore. So I'm not used to him. So he's starting to become more agitated. Anyways, it was a nightmare, really, a real nightmare for me now. And I was having to walk. I would just go walking every day, hoping that something would happen. I would find something. And I walked the Golden Zone all the time. At least I was able to have a shower, and I found a guy on the street. He had a taco stand, and he agreed to give me some tacos just to keep me going. I promised to repay him. Anyways, it was a rough month, and I finally got my payments. So I decided to move and out of the neighborhood, and this guy had been so aggressive with me wanting money that I decided to ditch him and the house at the same time. So I had met this guy in the Golden Zone. He had a van. He was an American guy named Thomas. He used to tell me all these stories about how he used to run drugs and then he got caught, and then, or he used to run opals, like gems, into the United States that were illegal. You weren't allowed to import these, and he used to bring those in. And now he was in Mexico, and he was bringing stuff, Chinese stuff, cheap, into Mexico in his van and selling it. And like, apparently you weren't allowed to import Chinese stuff into Mexico, or there was heavy tariffs. So he would bring it in under the radar and sell it. But he was an interesting character. He liked to drink. He had a little house there, and he actually gave me some beer a couple of times and some coffee. I really appreciate the coffee. So by the time I got my check and I was ready to move, I really owed him a favor So I agreed to pay him to help me move and give him some money for helping me out. So I found a place in Centro, downtown, in the tourist area, and it was like a tourist apartment, and it was still only $400 US dollars a month. And I thought, this is a good deal because I can live here. It's only a quarter of my pension for the rent, and the rest I could live comfortably from the insurance money. I was kind of worried that the insurance company would cut me off, but the checks seemed to keep coming into my bank account. So that's where I met my current wife. Her parents' house or apartment was across from this apartment, and her father offered to buy my bed because this place had a bed and I'd already bought a bed at the first place, so I had this extra bed. So he offered to buy the bed, and then I gave him the bed. And when I went to collect the money for it, that's when Linda came, and she spoke a little bit English, and then we started talking, and I felt bad, so I didn't really ask them for the money for the bed after that. But I asked Linda out, and we went out and we were talking. Her English wasn't so good, so I was like talking to myself mostly, but we kind of hit it off, and I ended up renting a house for about $500 a month. It was a whole house, and it was on top of this pinnacle hill overlooking the ocean, and the rooftop terrace on it, the view was incredible. You could see the whole town, you could see the ocean from there, and the waves, and just be there. So I asked her to move there with me, and she did, against her mother's wishes, because if you're Catholic and you live with a guy and you're not married, you're a whore. But we're in Mexico, so they kind of understand. So I got married to her as quickly as I could. I didn't have much money, so I only invited the immediate family, part of the family, to the wedding, and we made it like a surprise. I told them it was a party to get dressed up, and then they came, and the master of ceremonies, or the I forget what you call them, from the city, came and married us. We didn't have a religious wedding. That would have cost a lot because we'd have to invite the whole family, the extended family, and I couldn't afford that, so we just had a small wedding. But that helped me with my immigration, and I was able to work. So we started in the garage in the house. I bought a pizza oven, and we started making pizza. And I had a motorcycle that I bought through her work. She got a discount on it at her work, and so I had this motorcycle, and I was delivering pizza. We were making in the oven in the house. She was still working, so I was driving her back and forth to work, and then delivering pizza, and she would answer the phone for me because a lot of times we're Spanish speakers. We did some flyers, and then the pizza business took off, so we found a place. It was like a back of a hotel, and it was a big, huge place, like with 3 big bedrooms and 2 washrooms, big washrooms, and it had a terrace in the middle, so we had tables there, and in the main dining room was big. It was all checkered flooring. So we ended up opening a restaurant there, and it took off. We got notice, or recognition from the gringo community there. The word traveled fast that we're making pizzas, and I'd made pizzas before, so I started doing it the way I used to do it, and they took off. The people loved it. We did spaghetti and meatballs and different pastas and salads, big salads, because vegetables in Mexico are incredible. So we did that and worked at that, and then she left her job and she stayed full time with me. And then her son, my stepson, his name's Dave too. He was going to school, so we paid for him to go to a better school. And I tried to employ people from her family in the business. I called it Pizza Moreno, which was the family name, and I had hoped that the family would benefit from it and be able to work in it. That was kind of tricky, but we ended up working, me and Linda, long days, but it was fun for a while. I was losing my patience because I was working 14 hours a day, and I was getting tired, and I was drinking at night, wine and beer, and then I'd be hungover the next day and have to do it all over again. And so I was losing my patience with them, but they put up with it, and we kept going. And the problem with the location we had was that during the summer there wasn't much people coming there. It was mostly a winter thing when the tourists were there, so during the summer it was very slow. So I had found another location right on the beach, and it was a smaller one, and I thought, well, maybe we'll get away from the service, full service, and get more into the takeout delivery thing. So we gave up the bigger restaurant, and there was some tears over that because we'd worked so hard, but I couldn't handle it anymore. I was growing really tired and doing all the work. Well, not all the work, but it was a lot for just me and Linda, and like the staff we had would do minimal. So we moved, and that turned out to be a mistake because we were in a different area and a lot more competition from other restaurants, and we just didn't stand out like we used to. So I grew tired of that, and in the meanwhile I still had all these things in my head that were going on from the past, and that somehow they must still be listening to me because I kept seeing signs. People used to come to the restaurant and ask me all kinds of questions, like gringos, mostly Canadians that were there. So whenever I saw Canadians come in the restaurant, I used to run the other way. I thought, I don't want to deal with these people, but they just ask you all kinds of fucking questions, and it's like, well, who are you to ask me any fucking question? I'm here, I'm in Mexico, I have my business, I don't owe you nothing. Just because I was born in Canada doesn't mean you have the right to fucking step on my rights or to even question me. They were like pushy, almost like they had some kind of ownership of me. And so I just ignored that and just kept going, working days, nights, weekends. Occasionally we would take a day off and go to the beach or go to the island there, which had a big beach, and we eat seafood. My daughter was born, and that really changed my life, and we raised her for 4 years, And then it started to get weird again. I'll just go to a separate clip for that.